So today is the learning outcome 3 from the management and information systems. The first learning outcome was understanding the management information systems in organizations. Into this learning outcome, we had discussed the different types of information like routine, exception, summary. Then we discussed the features of an information systems and how they are used. Then we discussed about the security, including storage, backup, and ethical uses like so I want to just recap, quickly types of informations and different, types, roles, and then in the second learning outcome, we discussed about the performance criteria, managing assets, operations, and the impacts of management and information systems. So the third one is somehow a little bit relevant with the second one, but we'll try to make it, little bit distinct. The difference between the two is be able to evaluate a management information system in an organization, analyze how an organization uses management information system to improve performance. The second one is that how MIS helps to improve the organization. The third learning outcome is about the recommendations to the improvement of the information system. Previously, in the second learning outcome, how MIS helps the organization's performance to be improved, while we are concerned here in the third learning outcome that how information systems itself can be improved, as well as the further development into the information system, that how these can be managed. So somehow the first and second one is obviously related with the second and third is related with each other. So MIS systems can be technologically improved, but organizing and usage of the information systems into the organizations can itself be more performable as compared to the less managed information systems. So we start with the third session now. MIS improvements, recommendations to improve a management information system. There are few things more frustrating at the work when you have an issue with the information system. For example, you are an employee and something goes wrong with the MIS, then obviously in front of your customers, or if you are working on your own, it is really frustrating. Or your computer is not working, your internet is not working, and you are helpless to go ahead or to continue your work. So whether it will be an individual workstation, database, or internet speed, most of the business world depends on information systems operating at peak level. So the information systems are most important at any time, and especially at peak levels when you really want to know that whether the information system is really trustworthy or not. So these situations sometimes happen when you are a little bit at risk that okay, the information system can fail at some time, so or in front of your customers, so you really feel frustrated. But some businesses have the luxury of employing an information system technology staff to help with these problems. So if you are in a small organization, then obviously it is your headache to manage the equipment, internet, the the databases and everything. You are not only using, as well as you need to take care. Okay, the system should not fail, and there shouldn't be any problem. But if there's a big organization, then the technical staff is dedicated and you are not worried about anything. Like for example, if you are in a hospital and if you are a medical doctor, you are using the information system, and if anything goes wrong, then the doctors or the medical staff, they don't worry about the hardware problem. They will quickly call the information system uh, technology staff in order to help them to recover the particular hardware problem or software problem. So that's also the difference, that improvement usage of the information system is really depending on from organization to organization, that who is responsible to get it used properly and get it improved or maintained properly. So like in many small businesses, like the most of the time the IT support is not available that much frequently. So that's a problem. Now let us see that how you can basically improve the usage of information system so that you should not have these problems at all. Number one improvement or suggestion, that develop a technology usage agreement for your staff. Include compliance such as inappropriate web surfing, data or music downloading policy, and data confidentiality. Prohibiting visiting website categories known to house viruses such as torrent sites, gambling, and file sharing sites. So, if you want your information system to work as an efficient system, then you should have some user agreement policy for your staff so that they should comply and they should avoid such issues. And how they can avoid, for example, if they are given certain appropriate web servicing instructions, that they do not use any inappropriate websites, or they may not use any personal data or unverified data. For example, if they have a files from their own computer or from their own USB drives, then data could be corrupted, or it can have the data can have the virus, or maybe you do not supposed to download any music into the company's computers. Obviously they can reduce the speed of the internet, and possibly maybe the data confidentiality is also the concern. You are not supposed to open the data of every client, for example, due to the data confidentiality or data protection act or whatever the laws applies. And particular categories of the websites should also be prohibited, such as torrent sites, gambling sites, and file sharing sites. So you might have seen that in big organizations or institutes, maybe the educational institutes, even people have their personal computers given on their desks, but the torrent sites are totally blocked. Like the torrents are peer-to-peer file sharing systems, or gambling, or any file sharing that when you download like a rapid share. So these policies will really help to protect the information system infrastructure, as well as to keep the information system updated as well as efficient regarding the performance. Create a comprehensive technology plan. This plan should address systematic replacement of aging workstations and ways to evaluate emerging technologies, It should provide a basic map of how your information system will run today and in future, taking in account the rapidly changing nature of the industry. So if you want your information system work efficiently, then you should create a comprehensive technology plan. It shouldn't be the case that, for example, if you have, for example, 100 or 1,000 number of clients, and you expect that maybe next year you increase up to 100%, then you should not compromise in a situation that when you will need the migration or scaling of the resources, then how you will manage. So this plan should address the systematic replacement of aging workstations and emerging technologies. It shouldn't be the case then at the time of replacement of the similar equipment with the new equipment should not create any problem. Our basic map of how information will be transformed from one platform to another platform in order to fulfill the requirement. For example, if you have a smaller computer, smaller data drive, then if you would wanted to transfer the particular data records to another bigger or faster computer, then will it affect the transition, and what will happen during that transition? Will the clients be affected? Will the system will be affected? The migration is really to be considered. So you should better create a comprehensive technological plan that where do you stand now and how you will be using and what scale of the technology you will be using in future. Contact your internet service provider to investigate increasing your bandwidth. Often increasing bandwidth makes multitasking much easier and reduce application hangups caused by slow updating. Consider ISP redundancy if you have repeated downtime from your primary carrier. So information systems are mostly they are a big being used by the big organizations. Possibly if it is only the for example the information system used within a single in-house single office, then probably that will be a kind of LAN, local area network, and that will be a local information system. But the use of information system is done by big organizations which are probably located at least in 2 locations, and the locations should be are always being connected via the internet. So if, for example, there is a bank, then bank will have a central server located at particular one location, let's say in London. Then the different branches can be located into different cities like Birmingham, Manchester, or maybe outside the country. So if you expect that your information system or any electronic usage of the information system for any kind of organization, it should work very faster and reliably. There should not be any redundancy, a delay into the communication. Then internet, the bandwidth of the internet, the speed of the internet for downloading and uploading should be really considered on the priority, and otherwise you will compromise the efficiency of the information system. Consult with one of the many firms who provide off-site storage for your key documents and databases. The service is typically easy to install and provides you with easy disaster recovery should you have a major system issue or viruses. So it's not only the usage of the information system, but your information system should also be in a disaster recovery stage. You should have some disaster recovery plans for your information and data for your organization. The reason that it's not only the case that for example, if your data is secure in your organization or in a physical place, but there could be any problem, like there could be a fire in your company, there could be any electrical failure into the storage devices, or there could be any natural calamity or disaster. So you should consider your information which is stored into the information system to be stored permanently in the offsite storage, so that you should be free from any problem. Like if you heard about any the fire being held in any particular bank branch, then it doesn't mean that the branch will lose all the customer information, but no, definitely the information of the customers, their accounts is stored somewhere else, not only at one place, but they must be stored at different places, so that that particular crucial information should always be available in kind of any disasters. Possibly it is not only the case that you could store your information within a country, but you can store and backup your data and information over the continents as well. Possibly if you have an organization, if you want to prefer to keep your backup of your data consistently, maybe in one copy in the US, one copy in the Australia, one copy at somewhere else, so that you should not have any problem at in any case. So that's also the one of the issue that you need to take care of. Consider software as a service. Options for functions such as word processing, email, and customer relationships management. This service provides web-based versions of solutions you typically install on each workstation. The service makes data more available throughout your shop and at your home. Now, if you want your information system efficient, improved, then it is not necessary that every time you might be using your computers as well as the software installed on your computers for particular purpose or for particular number of PCs. But software is a service. This is a concept of the web service being introduced here, that everything should be served as a service. A software could be said as a hard-coded program which runs on the computer and being after installation, but it is not necessary. Nowadays, all the softwares are being sold as a service. Probably you might have seen, but the examples can be Office 365, what they do, they really give you the option to share your documents online. If you created an account in the Microsoft Office 365, then at one time, one document, for example, an Excel sheet of your customers, can be accessed from anywhere in the world, and your employees can access it very well anywhere. Now, how it helps you to save the time, money, and the headache of, and to come out of the headache of the technology. If you are using the service, for example, of the Excel as a software, then you will not need to install the Microsoft Office into every computer, but the web browser will allow you to access the particular data sheet into the browser anywhere in the world and with cheaper price. For example, if you wanted to access the particular data sheet, let's say on 10 computers, which can be any personal computer, or it can be any any temporary computer, for example into the hotels or into the internet cafe, then if those softwares or particular data was accessed through the 10 computers, it means you should have the 10 licenses of the Microsoft to be purchased. Then it could cost you, let's say, for example, $100 or £100. But when you are using the service of Microsoft as a service, then you are probably paying maybe 10 times, maybe 8 times cheaper than that. So you could get the shared the software as a service for maybe in $20 or £20 instead of paying for the 10 licenses. So try to use these services which are available as a software, and it will give you an improved technology for your information systems. So possibly your information system, if you want your information system efficient, then those information systems should not be platform independent, yeah, but those should be used as a service. They will really give you an enhancement and usage of information systems very well. Try to utilize free software to free up your technology budget to upgrade machines faster. Many companies such as Google, Sun, Adobe add free services, entice customers to remain brand loyal. So obviously there is a variety of the softwares. They have some advantages, they have some disadvantages, but it is really the choice of your system developer to rely somehow on the free softwares like Adobe Flash, the Acrobat Reader, and most of the softwares which are available in free, and they are sufficient to be used within the organization as a freeware. There is also the concept of the freewares, like there are many freeware softwares are available. So probably using those free softwares with a wise decision, you are not only increasing the efficiency, but you are saving the budget, you are saving the amount, as well as the complexity of the new or purchase softwares, because the support and usage of the free softwares is much more easy and accessible as compared to the any the privately purchased software, and contacting with them may be difficult. But for the free softwares, you will have lots of resources, you will have forums to be discussed about its usage, its advantages, disadvantages. You will be very much familiar and aware from these kind of benefits and disadvantages. But overall, if you are using a free software, then you will have an advantage. You will not be spending any money on them. Schedule a periodic maintenance downtime. If your information technology employees or company should manage updates, scans for viruses, and examine error logs during this scheduled downtime to prevent data loss or system outages. So you should have some particular maintenance downtimes. It should be well informed by the employees or companies. Company should manage those updates, scans, viruses, examine errors, logs, and during that particular scheduled time, so that you should be free from any data loss or system outages. It's a good thing that you should have some maintenance downtime. You must have seen the many websites like banking websites and many others. At night time, you notice that they put a notice that okay, this is server is down for the maintenance, and sometime they tell in advance that okay, after 3 days the network or this website will be down for 2 hours from particular time. So it's not a disadvantage that your website will be down, your system will be down, but it has an advantage that periodically you are checking you are doing the maintenance, and maintenance will definitely need to stop the functionality of the information system, so that you should be able to apply the updates. You should be able to scan for the viruses, and any error logs you should be able to read during that scheduled downtime, so that you could be saved from any data loss or system outages in future. Now, extensions to the MIS plan further system development when information system. Major challenges in the MIS implementation are quantity, content, and context of information. If you want to give a real boost and extension into the performance and development of the information system, then you should consider the challenges that quantity of the information, what is content and context of the information should be considered, how much information and exactly what should it describe should be considered very well. If you are not sure about the quantity, content, and context of the information, then you cannot extend or plan further development to an information system. The reason is, for example, if you are not sure that how many customers you will be dealing, what will be the contents of your products, and in what way they will be using, it is really important. Otherwise, you will not be producing a robust information system. Nature of analysis and presentation, comprehensibility of the information. So whatever the information you will be using in the information system, its nature, its analysis, how the data will be used, how much data will be used, in how much way it will be used. It should be analyzed well, and a comprehensive information should be available to you. It shouldn't be the case, for example, that if your system is designed to process, for example, the 2 transactions maximum at one time, and accidentally, or your employees are using the information system and they are executing more than 2, maybe 10 transactions at one time, then that's not going to happen in proper way. So analysis of the information, nature of the information, and content of the information, quantity of the information is must. Availability of the information, frequency, contemporariness, on demand or on routine, periodic or occasional, one time info, or repetitive in a nature, and so on. So similarly, as I explained, that how the data will be available, with what frequency that will be used, how contemporary it will be, would it be on the demand or would it be on the routine. So as I gave an example, that whether the 2 transactions will be executed at one time, or if, for example, they require 10 transactions to be done at same time, then possibly it could be a regular scenario in a periodic, or it could be occasional one, or it could be one time, in 7 days, or if it could be repetitive. So possibly, if you wanted to have the system which could use the many transactions concurrent at one time, but it could be very expensive. But if you think that you will hardly have 10 transactions to be executed, and if, for example, 10 of them are the 10 orders are given, then probably there should be some scheduler to run those transactions in a sequence or in a queue, so that you may not need any robust or the concurrent implementation of the system. Accuracy of information is also important, that should be considered. Reliability of information, security and authentication of the system is also important. The MIS design and development process has to address the following issues successfully. There should be an effective communication between the developers and users of the system. If you want your information system should be developed very well, robust and strongly useful, then you must provide the interaction between the users as well as the developers of the system. It shouldn't be the case that developers took an interview from the system users, they took all the information, they developed the system, they finally handed over the system, and finally they noticed that, this could have been done in this way or this way or this way. So that must be developed according to the best software engineering point of view. The requirement should be given and everything should be sorted out during the development, not after the development. There should be some synchronization in understanding of management processes and IT among the users as well as the developers. So there should be some synchronization. It shouldn't be the case that once the users gave the understanding of the management process and IT to the developers, but possibly they gave some piece of requirement, the developers implemented, and they did a kind of synchronization between the iterative implementations. Understanding of the information needs of managers from different functional areas and combining these needs into a single integrated system. So it should be very much clear to the developers that what managers really need from different functional areas and how those needs to be combined into a system. If the understanding and the needs of the managers is not fulfilled, then it will be very difficult to integrate the system, and the usage of the system will be useless, because overall all the components of an information system have to be gathered, collected, and integrated for overall system performance and outcomes, and that should be used for the managerial purposes. If those components cannot be integrated finally, then it will be a problem for the usage and overall results of the management information system. Creating a unified MIS covering the entire organization will lead to a more economical, faster, and more integrated system. However, it will increase in design complexity and manifold. So, unified MIS covering the entire organization, it will give you finally economical, faster, and more integrated system, so that each and everything should have been monitored by the organization, by the managers, but obviously in order to keep the system which gives you a record, a tracking of the system can somehow be complicated. It would not be very easy to design to such system which may give that particular information and in a fine processed way, so that it should be useful for the entire organization. But however, there could be different types of the information system, like one of them could only be used by the staff, and there is no further or detailed managerial collection of the whole process, but some others could give the managers the overall usage and performance of the organization. So both of them have advantage and disadvantage. The simpler one will not be complex enough. The other one will be complex but very useful for the organizations as a whole. The MIS has to be interacting with the complex environment comprising all other subsystems in the overall information system of the organization. So it is extremely necessary to understand and define the requirements of the MIS in the context of the organization. MIS has to be interacting with the complex environment comprising all the other subsystems and overall systems of the organization. So it is extremely necessary to understand and define the requirements of the MIS in the context of the organization. For example, the information system has been designed in general, but if that is used in any particular organization, then the environment should be very much clear for the implementation of the information system. It should be very much clear that which components of the organization or what requirements of the particular organization should be processed into which component of the information system. Interacting with complex environment means it is the responsibility of the MIS, management and information system, to identify its subsystems, that how they will be interconnected and how they will be dealing and connecting with each other, so that there should be some good interaction in order to fulfill the requirements. It should keep pace with changes in the environment, changing demands of the customers, and growing competition. So within the information system, there should be some space, a pace, an option in order to accept the change, in order to apply some change in the environment, in order to listen to the change or demand of the customers, or in order to comply with quick changes. For example, if you wanted to change the product description, and you should be able to quickly apply into the system. It shouldn't be the case that somebody came with a complaint that there is some problem in the description, you have mentioned wrong thing, and you would not need to wait for the higher authority of the organization, so that they should be able to change it after some process. But there should be some pace for changes in the environment, changing in the data, whatever. It should utilize fast developing in IT capabilities in best possible ways. Cost and time of installing such advanced IT-based systems is high, so there should not be a need of frequent and major modifications. It should take care of not only the users, the managers, but also other stakeholders like employees and customers and suppliers. So all these concerns should be kept in mind. In addition to this, there's another, then the last slide is, before the system is in operation, the following issues should also be considered. For example, the data security, backup, and recovery. You should make sure that the data is secure. You are continuously keeping the backup of the data, and you should have a recovery procedure that whenever if you lose the data, then you could recover the data. There should be some control over the system. Overall control is necessary. Then testing of the system to ensure that if it works bug-free in all expected business situations. The hardware and software used should be able to deliver the expected processing. It means whatever the hardware and software you are using, it should give you a good performance. The system capacity and expected response time should be maintained. It shouldn't be the case that you have a computer and it started responding slowly after a few months when the data increased. You should consider very well. The system should be well documented, included a user guide for inexperienced users, a user reference or operations manual for advanced users, a system reference manual describing system structure and architecture. So it's about extensions and improvements into the information system. So is everything okay now, Yusuf?
Yes, no questions.
Okay, good. So we take a 5-minute break here, and
Sure.
we will continue the next session, after 5 minutes. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. I will reconnect. Join me. After 5 minutes. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. See you in a minute.
See
Bye.
you.